Hey, it's Cannonball Nation Team Leaders Edition. It is April 22nd, 2025. And today I have a boss update I'm going to share with you that we're launching this week. And but before we get into that, I'm going to talk with you all a little bit about the importance of data. I know that sounds like a really boring subject, but without good data, you're not going to properly be able to run your systems properly. You're not going to be able to handle open enrollment this year because rumor has it that they are going to shorten it. Like that seems to be pretty, it's still being voted on, but it sounds like it could really pass. If you haven't heard, potentially ACA will end on December 15th this year. So if you do both, that's pretty tragic, like we do, because I mean, even from the 15th to January, we do so much business because we can find SEPs just to roll people into a new plan come January 1. It's absurd. But that is the rumor, and it sounds like it might actually pass, even though I think every agent under the sun has written the government against it. But ultimately, we need to prepare for that, right? Whether it happens or not, we still need to be prepared because, as Katie Owen shared with us a few weeks back, her systems and automations saved her life, which is amazing. But as you grow, your data set gets larger and larger and larger. And if your data set isn't good, then all the systems and automations aren't going to do you any bit of good because you're going to be sending it out to the wrong people. You're going to be sending out birthday cards at the wrong time. You're going to be sending out Humana updates to United Healthcare reps and your Blue Cross updates to your AARP people because your data is bad. And all you're going to do is confuse your clients. And half the time in this world, confused clients don't show confusion, they show anger over it all, which is always fun to deal with. And I'm speaking from experience, I promise, especially system hopping. When we scan one set of data and put it in another system, all the line items don't line up right. We have a bunch of people born in 2032 right now. That's a problem, right? So we are massing cleaning up our data. I even hired a data analyst guy to help us clean it up because the front office staff are just not getting it done. I don't know if they just don't have that kind of attention to detail or if it's overwhelming or what, but I want this data so clean that I just decided to hire a data analyst guy, and he is going to go through every carrier line by line, match up the line items, and get the data in there properly. That way, we're no longer having 2032 birthdays in our book. And I think that is so important, you guys. Like, I mean, it's like a common sense important thing. I know it, but honestly, I didn't realize how out of control my system was. I mean, we put the information in, it goes in, great. Systems glitch, they don't save, you don't realize it. So the data's not there the next time you go in. You go through an open enrollment period and you change the client and you got a stack of paperwork, or you put it in your funnel, but then you never updated the actual contact that you went from Humana to Blue Cross, or they went from ACA to Medicare. And again, your data set is wrong. This is the time of year to absolutely go line by line in your data. I don't care if it's in BOS, if it's in another Go High Level system, if it's on a Google Doc. It doesn't matter where you have the data stored. This is the time of year to go line by line and make sure your data is absolutely correct. And if it's not, fix it. Or, as if you learned in January, delegate it, do it, delete it, right? Those 4Ds. Figure out which one it lands in and then give it a home if it's not you doing it. If you're delegating, and I wouldn't delete it. I mean, unless they're, deceased or something, maybe, or a DNC, but even I don't delete those. I just move them to a different place because you got to keep that stuff for 10 years, right? But ultimately, figure out if you're doing it or if you're delegating it. And you need to make that decision, kind of like by May 1st. So they would have May and June to clean up your data if you're not doing it, or you have May and June to clean up your data. Because what happens in mid-June? AHIP breaks out. And then you got all the certs. And you're not going to have time at that point to clean up your data. So right now, up until about mid-June, is your shot. If you don't do it now, it's not going to get done, I promise, because you're going to end up in certs, summer vacay, family time, and then open enrollment. Because I realize it is April 22nd. You know what that means to me? In my world, open enrollment is tomorrow. That's how soon it will feel like it's here. I mean, I blinked, it was New Year's, and I blinked again and it was Easter. So your next blink, I'm going to be on vacay, and the blink after that, it's open enrollment. And that's how fast it's going to feel like it's going to get here. So you have about 60, maybe 90 days to get serious about what I'm talking about, cleaning up that data and getting your systems right. Because if you are going to work out of BOS, I am dropping some really cool stuff in BOS that's fixing to hit your all systems. And if the data isn't right, then this isn't going to flow properly for you. I am busy trying to build stuff out to make your guys' life easier. And so is every other CRM developer. So if you're using GoGurus or DFY or RetireFlow, guarantee you they're doing all the same things. Different versions, but they're doing things, right, to make your systems better. But if your data is not accurate in there, it does not matter how good your system is, you will not like it. You will have a bad experience, I promise. So take this time. I know I'm preaching here a little bit, but it's uber important. I've hit the roof so many times over the last couple of weeks when I was trying to set automations and looking at things in our system, and just realized how bad, I thought maybe, 5%, maybe even 10% of the data is bad. Oh, heck no. It's like 50% of the data is bad. I mean, it's amazing how fast data gets unraveled, especially since we're changing their plans all the time, right? And we're going from paper to paperless. So a lot of times papers get filed and they don't get uploaded. They don't get changed. So very important, get through your data, whether you do it or you hire somebody to it, really sit down and get that data correct, because your system is only as good as the information you put into it. It's going to be it's part of that efficiency thing that I started out in January. When you're sending out the wrong information to the wrong people, that's not efficient. And that's creating problems. Generally, you're creating your own internal problems. When then you got to fix your own problems, well, that takes more time. If I just had the data straight to begin with, which it needs to be, right? The data needs to be right, because here I am, open enrollment, trying to, knock 20 people out in a day. I got to go fast, and I'm relying on the data in my system to be right. And if it's not right there, then I got to backtrack. Then I got to go find the data. I got to talk to the client like, hey, can I see your cards? What did I do last year? Now I sound like an idiot because I don't remember anything. Well, I'm not going to remember anything. I get 6,000 of you. But if my system was right, I sound like I remember everything, and I sound so intelligent, and I don't sound like a freaking idiot. I hate sounding like an idiot. My staff gets more yelled at when I know I look bad, because things like data is not correct. So on the data side, though, something, it's always been a problem, especially when we're trying to onboard agents or agencies or add new contracts. It's always been a fuss. I've talked to so many people, really large FMOs. I'll be quite honest, nobody does as well. Nobody. We have developed something inside BOS that hopefully will help this out. I don't know if we'll do it well, but I think it'll help. So I'm going to show you what we've got cooking over here. And Dory, I'm going to use your BOS as an example.
Sure. I'll show that pink.
All right, can you all see the screen? Make it a little bigger here. Everybody good? Okay.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. So right now I'm in Dory's boss and I'm under the line item opportunities. And if you go up to the top where it says, you click on the drop down, you have agent for life leads, you have client care, you have additional contracting requests now, you have new agency onboarding and new agent onboarding. Those are the pipelines. So you would have a leads pipeline, you would have a client care pipeline for like ID cards, requests, things like that. And then we have now 3 pipelines for contracting. New agent onboarding is just like it sounds. It's for a brand new solopreneur agent that is not assigning commissions to an agency. So a true raise my hand, I want to sell something. They're going to go into the new agent onboarding pipeline. If you're an agency owner where you have downlines or employees, or assign your commissions to an agency, because we have to track the agency part too, then they're going to fall under new agency onboarding. So that's for new people only. Then once somebody is fully onboarded, so like Katie, let's say you wanted to add a new contract, you would then land in additional contracting requests. So additional contracting requests is for people who are already fully onboarded with Cannonball, and now we're picking up one-off contracts. And you guys are going to fall into a pipeline. So we have our Cannonball agency form. Then we're in the agency one. We're going to verify downline and LOA agents, verify state licenses, verify the certs are completed, like your FFM, your state exchanges, your AHIP, whatever you need for the contracting request you want. If you're a coming over or transfer or release, so we can track your releases, your ACA compliance link that needs to be signed, your Humana compliance link that needs to be emailed to you for verification, verify your contracting level. Then it goes into onboarding call. So when our initial onboarding call, so we can track that to make sure it gets done properly. Request contracting. We do a welcome box for direct people, invite to school, an email list, contracting updates, and ready to sell. So it's a full funnel to track an agent or an agency. And we have this on all things. So this is the new agency. This is the new agent, very similar. And then the additional contracting is a little shorter because we already have you in the system. So now we're just receiving the request, verifying you have the license or the cert. If it's like an additional state or something, request it. You've received it and completed it in RTS. With that being said, how do you put people in there? This is in our system. This is also going to be in y'all's system. But the gold here is, and most of everybody should have this already in their system, not the pipeline yet, I got to share that, but these line item forms, you might have noticed these forms pop up in your system. You didn't know what they were for. So we have an agent intake form. So if you've been with me long enough, you've done a JOT form, basically an invitation JOT form that gets you into our system. Well, those have now been recreated and changed up just a little bit. And they're put into your sidebar of your system. So we have agent intake form, so that single level agent, with agency intake form for a new agency. And then we have the additional contracting reform. So for all of you already on the call that are lined up with us, you would just ask for additional contracting and you'd put it in there. Now, what is gold about this is you fill that out and it lands directly into my system, my contracting system. It lands right here under received. It sends us an email and a task that it's there and you need something. And then we can move it along quickly. So you could send this out at 2 in the morning. You could send it out at, 7 a.m. whenever you're thinking about it. You don't have to wait for us to send you a link. You don't have to wait on anything. You can literally just go in the system and submit it. You can submit it on behalf of your agent you're bringing on as a team leader. If you don't want to submit it on behalf of an agent, when your people get their own systems, they can then submit it for themselves. Now, all of these have links that can also be shared like in an email or a text. So if you don't want to submit it for your people, you can send them the link and they can fill it out. And when they do that, it's going to land right into one of these pipelines, right into Cannonball Nation's contracting department. It's instant and it will not get lost and will not get missed. The other thing we're working on, and I believe we can do it, we just haven't quite figured out how, but depending on who the upline is, so all you uplines, all you agency owners are going to absolutely love this. We're figuring out how to, once it hits our system, because it does ask who the direct upline is, and if that's you, Dory, then you're going to get tagged. There's going to be a way you get tagged on it as well. And not only is it going to be in our pipelines with everybody else's, but your specific tags are going to land in your pipelines. So you'll be able to see in real time where that agent is in the contracting stage. So you'll know if we saw it. You'll know what we're trying to confirm. You'll know if we need releases or transfers. We'll know if they've done their compliance. Like you'll know very much where that person is in the contracting. Once we figure out how to tag it, we may have to hard code it. I'm not sure. We're still working on that piece. But I think that is going to be huge for y'all trying to track your agents coming on board, coming through as you recruit, as even those of you who are transferring over and you got to wait 60, 90 days, things like that. And actually, that just reminds me of a line item I can put in there. And this is why I like to talk through it too, because I think, oh, I should put this in there. So we're going to put 90-day wait because it was a transfer. And then also carrier certs. I'm going to add that too. Line item certs done. So you're going to be able to see in real time exactly where that agent is in the process. So you'll never have to guess. You'll never technically have to reach out. Not that you won't reach out with questions or things like that. But ultimately, if we can tag in your system, that means you have full access to see it. You could actually go in there and ask a question on it as well. You could chat on it, or you can ask a task or something, and we can follow up with you directly that way through the system, which should save lots of time and energy. We build a lot of spreadsheets for you guys, which helps, but even those, again, if you're not updating them like every day, then they're not accurate, right? And when we're contracting 5,000 and 6,000 people, we're not people, but we got 100 agents that all want 10 contracts. So that's 1,000 contracts we're tracking in that month. And that we do. So, I mean, that's a lot. So this should give you real-time information in our system as it moves along. And I'm super excited to get this launched. Dory, I've already put the onboarding funnels into your portal this morning. So I could show everybody already has the intake forms. The intake forms are live, guys. You can use those. You're not going to have quite the funnel yet. Hopefully we're going to get that in everybody's systems this week. And then we're also going to figure out, hopefully this week or next, how to tag you all into the process if it's possible. But the far as the actual forms to be submit contracting already there, and they are live. So if you fill one of those out, it'll go directly to our system and we will see it.
Rebecca, can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
So on the agency or agent onboarding form, if we use one that you have previously sent us, it will not show up in the system. Is that correct?
No, because that's through a jot form. This is actually through the BOS system. So no, unfortunately, it won't.
Okay, second part to that is if we're using the one in the system, which I'm super excited about, I know it's going to go directly to your dashboard,
Mhm.
but you're going to receive all that data. Is there a way that that data would also load in our system when we enter it into that form?
That's what we're trying to figure out. I don't
Okay,
have an answer for you yet, but we're trying to figure that out.
okay, because that way
You
we're not
may,
having
if
to-
it doesn't, what you might have to do is you may have to create the contact first and then do the form. That way you do have the data, maybe. I'm hoping, I know it can be done in the individual dashboards. What I don't know, since it's a cross play from your dashboard to mine, if we can then bounce the information back to your dashboard. That's what I'm still trying to figure out. And I
Okay,
did hire a coder recently. And so if it can be done, we'll get it figured out. But there are some things that go high level, the backend platform just won't let us do. So we're still trying to see.
And where
Okay.
was that form? Like, where would we find those forms in there? What is it, under the onboarding?
No, it's right on the sidebar. It's in the main thing. So under boss
The form
support.
to,
Yep. If you go down your sidebar, it says opportunities, contacts, calendars, client care, new.
we're not seeing your screen anymore.
Well, no, it should be in your screen if you're looking at it, Jenny. Are you
Oh, I
looking?
thought you were trying to show her like where it was at. Sorry.
No, I was just reading it, so I knew.
okay,
I can show it to you though. So it's on your main hub sideboard, like this board over here. See where it has all your contacts. And then boss support, I know you're familiar with that form. And then there's these three, they're in between brackets, so they're in their own little box so you don't get them mixed up. This is the agency stuff. Also, you guys have this client care form. I'm pretty sure everybody has that. I may not have, I got to go back and probably snapshot. Excuse me, I sneeze. Snapshot the pipeline for you. But what this is going to do, so you're going to have these two forms as well. Dory's is the one I'm working out of because she hadn't messed with hers at all since Dolores gave it to her. And so I'm redoing hers is the one I'm redoing. And then ultimately I'm going to copy it. And this is going to be the standard version for everybody. Now, if you have your own customs in there, it won't change anything. That'll all still be there when I give this all to you. But there's a client care form. We started doing this in Cannonball when we went paperless. This is for customer service. So if somebody needs a new ID card, if somebody is not happy with their plan, because this is the way I look at it. If you're not happy with your plan and I'm going to do a plan switch, that's not new business, guys. That is client retention. Because if they go somewhere else, you're losing money. Where new business, you never had the money to lose to begin with. So this, in my opinion, is client retention. If they go from ACA to Medicare, that I consider new business. Is a completely different line item. Is totally new. If they have ACA and they're adding cancer, that cancer is new business, is a line item. But when I'm switching like an ACA to an ACA or a Medicare to a Medicare, just because they don't like their plan or their income changes, or I'm ordering ID cards, or I'm filing a claim, to me, that is all customer service, AKA retention. And so your client care form is all about customer service. So when you fill out this form, it's just a simple form. It just, name, phone number, the problem or request. It's a pretty big box. You can fill out the problem or request. Request type, is it Medicare, AC, or other? Do you happen to have marketplace authorization yet? Yes or no? Do you need them on the phone? And then this, when you submit this, once the opportunity is there, it's going to go into your opportunities funnel. And it's going to be under the pipeline client care. So the pipeline here is the problem change request is landed in your system. Are permission forms needed? In other words, do you need a scope to fix this? Are you working it? I made it really simple. Currently working in it. Sometimes it's like 2 weeks before you get something solved or find an answer. So we know you're on it. We're working it. I found a solution. Great, we've solved it. The client page, does it need to be updated? Like, did I switch their plan? Well, that needs to be updated. Again, part of that data tracking. Then is that completed? Great. But it's not completed yet. This is where everybody, including myself, including my team, you guys too, I promise, it's completed, you're done. In your brain, it's done. Well, it's not done, guys, because half the time you complete something like ordering new ID cards and they still don't get them. And they're calling you back in a month complaining they never got their ID card. So now we have a 2-week follow-up to whatever was done here to just make sure, whether it's a 2-week follow-up in our system, just to make sure like the doctor got changed, or it's a 2-week follow-up to call the client to make sure they got the ID card, whatever it is, I'm now having my team do that 2-week follow-up before they officially close this out. It's making a huge difference in not losing track of stuff or only half completing something. So that client care form, when it's fully in your system, you'll fill the form out and it'll drop into this pipeline. Y'all have the form right now. I've got to get these pipelines to you. This is what this week's, what we're working on this week. Then there's also a new business form. So this one is literally for new business. So this is a new lead request, or this is maybe somebody that's adding an additional line item. Maybe you've got an ACA going to a Medicare. And this is basically not all, but most of our initial intake form. So like when the front desk would take an intake form on somebody, that's what this is. It's an intake form. Now, this and the client care Dory, when you fill this out, does update your contact. So if they give you a different phone number or a different address here, these will automatically update your contact sidebar. Still verify it though, because systems, link badly sometimes, but it is supposed to update your sidebar. So when you fill this out, it's going to land in this pipeline. Wrong button. It's going to land in your lead pipeline automatically. And then you're going to follow it along. Now, when it lands here, just like client care, you're going to get a task and an email that it's there. So if you have an assistant filling it out, you're going to get notified. So if you're on the road, you're going to get notified. Or when you get home, you're going to get notified. And if you don't do it, then it's going to send you overdue reminders. So this is part of how you're not going to lose track of it, because the system's going to be blowing up your email saying you have something to do. So new lead, it sits here until you basically acknowledge it. If it's sitting in a new lead in my team, that means nobody's acknowledged the thing yet. Then once you've acknowledged it and you're calling it, texting it, whatever you're doing, trying to get a hold of it, then it moves into the calling dashboard. Once you get a hold of it and you figure out what scopes need to be sent, then you send the scope. Then whenever somebody receives a scope and it's completed, scope completed, appointment set, quoted, final attestation and deck pages. What that means is when it lands in this column, you want to verify you're somewhere between quoting and selling. So you basically sold it. So you want to make sure you have all your final attestations in your deck pages. If you are like us and going paperless, you're going to load them in the system. If you're not paperless and you're going to have a file on the person and you're going to confirm that you have all the forms you need to close out basically the file. Once you verify you have all the forms, then that person is going to go to sold. Okay. Now for our team, and this may be for your team as well, you just may be the team depending on where you're at. But for our team, once it lands in the sold column, sales is done. The sales team has done their job. At this point, once it hits sold, the customer service team now takes over this lead. It is no longer in the salespeople's hands, it's in customer service. And then that customer service is going to first verify that all the final attestations and deck pages are in fact there. There's nothing missing. If there is something missing, then service is kicking it back one and sending it back to sales and creating a task going, we're missing pages. In my office, it is not the service team's job to make sure the deck pages and the scopes are there. That is 100% the sales team's job because they're the person that worked with the client. Service does not know what those deck pages are. They do not know where to get them. It is the sales team's job to get it to them. Once that's been resolved and it goes back into Soul and the service team verifies all the pages are there, then they're going to send a thank you card. And then they're going to look also at the plan to see what kind of premium it is. It a $0 plan or does it need a payment? If it needs a payment, then in about a week from when they send the thank you card, if they notice the payment hasn't been made yet, then they're going to call and try to get that payment made with that client. And then once they get that payment, you know, it's about 10 days that the ID card showed up. Now, when they check it, if there's no payment need, then they still setting in basically a week or 2 week task. And then what they're going to do at that point, instead of gathering payment, they're going to verify client got the ID card. So they're going to call and confirm client got ID card. If client did not get the ID card, then they're going to figure out why. And it's going to sit here probably for another 2 weeks until the mail runs and they can verify that client got their ID card. They're not allowed to move it out of this column until the client has gotten their ID card. I don't care how many phone calls it takes. I don't know how many times they have to tell the carrier to resend the card. It does not leave here. This is not a closed sale. It is a sold sale, but it is not an active client. In my land, it is not an active client unless premium has been made and the ID card with the correct doctor is in their hands. Then I consider it an active client. And then at that point, they will move it to 1. And now in this spot, they will go and update all the sidebar items that if anything needs to be updated or added to the plan, things like that. Once that's been done, then they'll take this lead and they'll drag it down to 1. Or say the client, they didn't get it sold, then it's going to go to loss. Or they never made their payment, guys. You know, that happens in ACA a lot of times. They never made the payment, Now they've ghosted you. Well, guess what? That's abandoned. Like, it didn't end up in a sale. And just because we sold it, there are lots of problems between here and there that could create that sold as not actually sold. You did not actually win a client from it. And we don't want to give the system bad information. We want to make sure this client fully goes active before we fully get it in our system and out of our pipeline. This is so we don't lose track of things and we don't lose track of our clients and we do a better job following our clients through. Just like with that agent pipeline, that agency pipeline, bringing on new agents and contracting, hopefully this will give us in the internal office a smoother transition for you guys coming on board because we'll have a pipeline for it instead of just notes in 14 different systems and 85 spreadsheets and all the things. Because Google Sheets, as much as I love them, they're becoming impossible because we have too many of them. So that works for client care and new business. Now, when you do these forms and it drops in there, it'll create a task. It'll send you an email that it's there. If you have a team, and you have me put so like say you have internal team like LOAs, I can put a line item on there that has a drop down where you can pick the agent that it's assigned to. So like in our office, you know, if it's assigned to a sales team or a client care team, then that agent gets tagged and they get all the emails, not me, for them to do the work. But I can go into the system because I can see what everybody's doing anywhere in the country. All I have to do is flip over my laptop, log into my BOS system, and I can see where we're at. I can see how many opportunities we have. I can see how many leads that came in and all the things. And then on your dashboards, if you create a custom dashboard, or if you ask me to create you one, once you really get to using the system, you will have a front end dashboard where you can see on a higher level how many clients you have, how many are active, how many have been sold, what is, because one of the line items in the lead form is how'd you hear about us, you know? So you'll be able to see in real time where your leads are coming from and what's selling. Oh, I learned a little trick, guys. I'm going to make a video on this and drop it into the BOS system because it's just like a 2-minute tutorial. But while I got you on here and the system's doing it, I learned something the other day. If your system hangs like this, your BOS system, do a left click, hold it down. You're going to get this screen. Go all the way down to the word called inspect. You're going to click on that. What you're going to see then is a whole bunch of code pop up. You got to give it a minute to load. It loads on both the top and the bottom. Give it a minute to load. And then once it's loaded, you're going to come over to the refresh button. You're not hitting refresh, so don't just put your brain there. You can go to the refresh button. You're going to left click the refresh button, and then you have different types of refreshes. So what you're going to hit is the hard refresh after all your data is loaded, hard refresh. This is a much different type of refresh than just hitting your refresh. You're going to hit a hard refresh, then you're going to close out the code. And then your system then should update and be more timely for you. So if you ever get where your system hangs or it's not loading right, do a hard refresh on it, and then
That's
it
useful.
should fix your problem. Okay, so here is Dory's dashboard. Yes, it's pink because Dory likes pink. Conversion rate, tasks. So any open tasks that you or your team have, you can see them right here. So you don't have to go in the task manager. Contacts count, as I said, Dory's not using this yet. So it's just kind of basic data in here right now. Opportunity status, closed 1 or open 1. Opportunity count, 1 opportunities, count by status. And these are all changeable. You can put whatever you want in here. You can have the funnels. I like this, so I know how many's in received, how many is verified, that kind of thing. This is on the contracting funnel, so you can change it to whatever funnel you want it to load. So there's agent for life leads funnel. So you can see who's in what category. Manual actions, phone, text, emails, stage. If you got your BOS system linked right, you should have it linked to your Google profile page. And this will track how many people have visited your website off of Google, from desktop, mobile, conversions, website visits. If you're focusing on your website, this is really great information. Lead source, so where it came from, like this was a new business intake form. We just put it in there. It just tells us where it's coming from. Google ads report, Facebook ads, if you're running that. I put Dory's little logo on it. Google ads, you can also track if you want to track in here your Google reviews, that kind of thing. So you can customize this dashboard to kind of show whatever part of the system you want. And so it's an overview page, a high level overview page, which is really great. Also, I put in here for those of you who were on the call the other day about Ask Rebecca bot. I've loaded it now. This is in every one of your dashboards already. She's loading. And if you need help with questions or brainstorming, she's in your system. You just click on her and talk to her. Now, I had a fraudulent case come into my office yesterday. We didn't write it. She was packing a Medicare supplement and a Medicare Advantage plan. She'd been on the supplement for years. She had silver scripts, as I found out, for years, and somebody just switched her to an Advantage plan without her knowing. So now she's packing a supplement and an Advantage plan, and her drug plan went away. Well, that was a problem. So we called, Medicare. We did a 3-way call, and we got it all fixed and got them to backdate the silver scripts and all that and get her out of that Advantage plan. But I was curious. So with the client, I showed them, because they're also kind of friends of mine. The one lady that brought her in, it was anyways. And I'm like, hey, look at my project. So she likes this. I showed her my project, and I asked her, the scenario, gave her the scenario, what had happened, and asked her what an agent should do. And she basically told me exactly what I did, that they can't have those plans together. That's not legal. You need to call Medicare. You need them to fix it. Da, da, da. She was dead on the money. There's, if you play with her enough, she's going to kind of glitch out still on a couple of things here and there. But ultimately, I would say right now, she's probably about 80% accurate on the things. I asked her the other day, I just was curious, and I gave her a zip code in a county, and I asked her what Advantage plans or what Advantage carriers were available in the area. And she gave me the rundown of all the carriers in the area. And then I asked her, well, can you tell me about this plan? And she gave me kind of a high level. She doesn't have like the co-pays amounts, but she knew it was the Dental Premier, because I asked her about the Blue Cross. She knew it had upgraded dental, things like that. Super helpful. I'm going to try to figure out how to load or the data on the plans. So you can even just ask her, be like, hey, what's the copay on the Michigan United Healthcare ARP 005 plan? Where she can just tell you at a drop of a hat versus you having to go and quote it and look at it. I'm gonna try to figure out how to drop formularies into her too.
Rebecca, she needs a name connected to Wonder Woman. So we can say, not ask Rebecca, or, you can say, go to Wonder Woman, go to, we need a name instead of her. Yes, she needs a fun name.
Somebody told me I should label her in the system, because my system's called BOS, and just label her Ask the Boss.
Yeah, but she needs a name. Think about that.
So Rebecca's not a name?
No, that's your name. That's your name. We need ask, I don't know, Wonder Rebecca, or ask the I don't know, come on, somebody, give us
Wonderbot.
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 Wonder Becca or something. Wonderbot. So not ask her or that thing, or ask Rebecca, you know what I mean?
How about Botsy?
Yeah, there you go.
That's cute.
I'll think on it and see if I can come up with something. But anyways, there is a lot of things happening in your BOSS system. Some of the stuff you can see right now, because it's a global, what we call a global form. So the minute I do it, it hits everybody. And then there's other things like the funnels I have to individually share with every one of your accounts. So that takes a little bit of time. But those are some of the things coming out. Honestly, once I have kind of Dory set, because she's going to be my example account, and we'll clone it, and then we will probably go offline for a weekend, just FYI, once I'm ready, and we will probably do a hard reset on the system so everybody gets the final product. You will still have your customs in there, so don't worry about losing anything like that. You'll still have all that, but you'll have all the new stuff that we have created. We'll probably just take it offline and just get everybody caught up at once. Any questions on
I
that?
just have to say that I'm so excited to have all of this at my fingertips will be just amazing, honestly. Just and that it will streamline all of the things that I'm doing, just as it's very exciting.
Well, good. That is the goal, right? But as we're learning, we got make sure the data, like double check the data when it hits in the middle and at the end, whether, like I said, it's you or you delegate it to somebody. I mean, it doesn't have to be an expensive hire, guys. I did a training last week on how to hire a VA. They're more than capable to do something like this. Even if they just cleaned up a Google sheet and you did a hard dump, I'll be pretty honest, those don't work out the greatest. We're starting one right now, a data guide, but we're doing it slow. He's getting some basic information, he's sorting it, and we're getting familiar with him first before we kind of get him into the system, just to kind of test him out and see how it works. And then I have one of my other girls here that works from home. Some of you know her, but she's also going to be manually going line by line through our system right now to make sure it's fully accurate for open enrollment, because it'll probably take them that long to get it fully updated, as big as our system is. Don't be me. Do it sooner before it takes you an entire year to update your data. But we are one form away. Just FYI, we are one form away from going completely paperless in the office. Oh, let me show you this. I think I have it in your system, Dory. So this is also something we're working on. No, I don't have it in your system. Let me go to my system. Because once we have this finished, as far as going paperless, we will be loading generic versions of it into y'all's system. Come on. And then you guys will have this information too. Where is my home office? There it is. And we're calling it Cannonball Tools. A couple of these line items you actually already have in your system. This is under Medicare Tools, but we're putting it on steroids. So under Cannonball Tools, this is where all these forms are going to be housed to be able to go paperless. So we have the Medicare scope. This one actually, we could probably put y'all in your system now. So it's a dual signature. So you send it to the client signs it, and then you sign it, and then it automatically loads into the client's account. We have our ACA new business scope that we send, doctors and prescriptions, the final attestation, the renewal scope, and the change request. So these are all the forms that we use in the office, the legal forms, and we are creating all these forms to work interactively in the system. So it can be sent from the system, they sign it, it comes back to the system, the data on the forms drop into the client's account. So like whatever income they put, whatever prescriptions, whatever the doctors they put will drop into the opportunity fields on the client's account. And then once we have it done for us, like I said, we're really close, then we can recreate all this in the generic form for y'all, because this all has Cannonball all over it. The generic form for y'all, so then you can put it in your system, and then if you want to update and put your logos on it, you can. But you'll have the generic version. Also in here, this is also part of Medicare Tools, which you do have, but these buttons are there. I don't know if you ever played with them, but if you click on this, it'll take you to a Part D late enrollment calculator. So if you like my client didn't have Part D for 32 months, you can check penalty. And it'll tell you that your estimated monthly penalty for 2025 will be $11.77. And it'll do that for IRMA. It'll do that for retirement age, initial enrollment period calculator, late penalty. I mean, does all that. Then I have another one coming too. So that's also very helpful. And right now, these line items you do have in your system, we're going to combine them all, but it's called Medicare tools. And so if you click on Medicare tools on your sidebar, it'll look like this, and you have that part already. But we're going to combine everything into one spot. And then once we have that done for everybody, this one will go away. Because we only want so many line items on this side. I personally don't like scrolling for days. That's annoying. To have to scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll. So we're cleaning up a lot of the scroll. Lots of stuff coming. Hopefully, we're gonna, I'm hyper focused on this, getting it done for us so we can release it to you, and it'll be good. I think your systems will be amazing for open enrollment this year. Any questions about this or anything else? I know we're over time. I don't like to be over time on this meeting because it's first thing in the morning and I know you'll have lots to do.
Thank you.
Everything was great, Rebecca. Thank you so much.
Yeah, very exciting.
Agreed.
Awesome. I think you guys are going to especially love the contracting one. I'm excited for it. So, and I can see what's going on. I can only imagine how excited you guys are going to be for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome, guys. Tom, is that actually you on the call, or is that Sander or one of the prices?
I heard him on the call earlier, so I think it's both of
Is
them.
him? Well, that's good. I know he's been struggling with his health, going in and out of the hospital lately, so it's good to see him on the call. All right, guys. You like the caller, the boss? You like that, Jenny? The boss? Ask
Yeah,
the
that's
boss.
cute. Ask the boss.
You like that?
Yeah, 'cause
I kicked it around. I'm like, that's kind of clever because our system's called boss.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, y'all. You all have an amazing rest of your Tuesday. We'll see you Thursday for those that come on Thursday. And then for those of you that I'll be talking to this week, I can't wait to talk. Bye, guys.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.